So today's date, January 20th, 2015. Just a minute away from the close here. Focused on Netflix's earnings report, which is due out at the closing bell. And the main thing on Netflix is, can it get some extension above 350 off of this, or can it get a breakdown back below 320 to 325? That's been the channel it's been in since December started. 320s on the low end, 350s on the high end. We need this earnings report to knock it out of that channel in order to get some good direction here. So we shall see. Closed more or less at 350. Your close officially was 349.49. Let's see what the first break is. If we get some extension above 350, the numbers usually come out right at the bell for Netflix. A level to reference on the support side is 331. That was the low from October 16th when you gapped down huge off of the last earnings report. And a level to reference on the top side is 358. That's your high from December. You haven't gone above the previous month's high since peaking back in September. You got some downticks, but nothing moving. Okay, looks like the numbers out. 350s, 360s here. 12K bidder at 360. So at least initially we've got a positive reaction. 370s. Can it hold this move? 380s. Let's see if it comes back down towards 350. In order to stay solid on Netflix, what would be the best is if you can just hold 360 to 370 now. Looks to possibly be stalling out here just underneath 380. Wouldn't be surprised if these 375 bidders get whacked out. Good battle right here. You did whack out the 75 bids. Remember what I said, let's just stay above 360 to 370 now in order to maintain that first move. Good job right there. Came into the 360s and then right back up into the 70s, but you whacked out those 70 bidders. Now they're back again. You've got a 12K ask at 374 from NSDQ. Your biggest bid that I see is 12,000 sitting at 364.80, also through NSDQ. So let's see, testing that ask, got it down to 2K. There's some selling here. And that ask refilled 12,300 shares. NSDQ now on the ask at 371, so he lowered. So somebody's selling a little size into this. Here he is, tested. They got him down to 1100, but again they couldn't take him out. That NSDQ seller, okay, they took him out. Should be able to move here now that you took NSDQ out. Testing 375s. Could go back to the highs if you can break 375 just psychologically. Alright, getting some 75 bid stacking. So good job. Stayed solid in the 60s. We're back in the 70s now. Looks like she's going to try for another 380 test. Getting some 380 bids, so nice activity here going on in Netflix, and you are testing the October-November highs. Your highs was 395, so 390 to 400, that's the area that it needs to get above really to really get things to go nutty here. But I wouldn't be surprised, still struggling with this 380. You're testing the spike high. The spike high was 384 right out of the gate. Just came back below 380. So I've got two key levels on the support side in the immediate term that I'll be referencing here on Netflix. First is 375, just psychologically. 375, key reference point to me. Second is 365. That was the low that you made when you came back off of 384. You pulled back to 365 and held that 60 to 70 range at 65, and now you've been able to bounce another 20 points here. Depending on what the rest of this action looks like, 380 would then become another level to reference, as we saw some activity around there. You're testing 390s now. But overall, the reaction here at the outset was positive. We still got the conference call to go through and everything, but nice upside here in Netflix. And said coming into this, if the stock could beat or have a positive reaction, then it would have a nice base intact, because if you just look at the daily chart, you can see that for about a month and a half now, you've got a nice little rounded consolidation base between 350 on the low end and 320s on the high end. We've of course broken out above 350 and added to that some, so it's a good look for Netflix. But again, 375, 365, those are the key supports, and then kind of depending on how much of this you hold on to, 380 might be a key support as well. As far as resistance goes, it's going to be the late October, early December highs between 390 and 400. My takeaway from this personally is, hopefully this comes in a little bit, because while I like the upside given what it's done here, if it opens right at 390 to 400, that kind of takes away much of the upside. Just like last quarter when it opened in the 330s, it took away all the downside, and you actually rallied from last quarter's open. Your low was 331, your close was 360s. Tomorrow might end up being similar, except the opposite effect. I wouldn't be surprised here if we're going to open at 390s, even though intermediate term Netflix just shaped up a decent amount. You could have a better trade on the short side versus 390. Look for that pullback towards 380 to 365. That could be the way things go. It really just depends on where is the stock 1 hour from now, and then where does it open tomorrow. But even though I like the breakout it made above 350 and above 360s all the way up here, risk and reward might now actually be in favor of the short trade, given that we're looking like it might bump its head right on that resistance. Now if you could open up, push through that, and get above 400, I know that'd be a big move, but that is then where, to me, even more upside would come into play. 400 just psychologically is going to be a key level. The other thing I want to point out here, back to this daily chart, is this downtrend line that we are going to be opening right around. It looks like this downtrend line is right at 389. This is a downtrend off of the all-time high from September, and then a lower high in October. So this will be, looks like, the first test on this downtrend line tomorrow that we've had in a few months. Very curious to see what happens at that downtrend line. Again, I reiterate that I like what it's done here. Awesome move in the after hours session, but might end up being a better short trade off the open tomorrow, given where it looks like it's going to be opening, not only with the October, November highs right here, but also that downtrend line I just pointed out. So, we'll see what really shapes up. Key levels, just to recap: 380, 375, 365 on the support side. Key resistance really right here, 390 on up to 400. That's what's going to dictate the tape tomorrow, in my opinion.